Let's remove everything else that is not the podcast, that is not supporting the growth of the podcast. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be finding guests, reaching out to them, scheduling appointments, flying there, interviewing
but that's
them.
not my interest, George. If we can do Instagram consistently, we will reach higher heights than when we will do it with a podcast. That's my conviction. I don't like showing up 3 times a week for a podcast.
We are not you versus me. We are a team.
Yeah, I know. Because I also feel like your decisions is mostly focused on what you would like to do, rather than what the audience wants.
You know what I want? If some of you guys are listening, want to come on the podcast instead of Ron once in a while, you're welcome.
Go ahead.
Welcome to YouTube Business Academy podcast. Every Wednesday, I, George, alongside my business partner Ron, take you along for a ride on our unfiltered and genuine conversation, bringing you straightforward insights about online entrepreneurship. Our focus, sharing the raw journey of building a business on YouTube and beyond. Our podcast is rooted in transparency. We discuss everything we discover in our YouTube journey, openly and authentically. From strategies and mindset shifts to the roller coaster of entrepreneurship, we're here to guide you through it all. So, you ready? Let's jump into today's episode. All right, Mr. Ron, welcome.
Back again in the computer world.
Ooh, that's right? How you call it nowadays.
That's how you call it.
I do call it computer world.
Yeah. So, how was your week? Like, it's been a week since the last one. So,
yeah, week has been good. I mean, I've been going up and down, thinking about everything that is going on about the business, about how I spend my time, the focus, and really getting real and prioritizing the things that move the needle and what's really important. And so we've been discussing, you and I, we've been working together for like a year and a half, and we've gotten far. We've learned a lot. We've tried a lot of things, right? But I think sometimes we come to a point when we need to think, okay, what moves the needle? What's really impactful, and not spread ourselves thin, and really understand kind of what's the driver. So the prerequisite of this whole thing is that, what are we going to focus on, and how can we grow the podcast? And if you're also listening to this, we want to ask you for your help. And maybe you can tell us why you're tuning in. What is it that is interesting in the podcast? How we can 10x it, basically, right? Is it just the YouTube automation stuff? Is it something else, that some other topics that are perhaps interesting or inspiring to you, that you would feel as much as sharing with others? Maybe I don't know what you think about it, Ron, but maybe like shareability. Like, how can we? What would be interesting to say that would make you share the podcast with your friends, right?
Yeah.
What do you say, Ron?
Yeah, like it depends. Like we're always a big advocate at looking at the data instead of our emotion, right?
Ooh, I love
that. The biggest peak of listeners was when we were doing shorts, because we are not doing shorts, of course, anymore. But that's also when we started out. So that's like, I think 1 year ago, we were in Bali, and then we were doing shorts. And if we look at those numbers, they were higher than now. And also we had a big amount of more viewers when we were talking about our journey about YouTube search. I think that was around 6-7 months ago or 8 months ago. So yeah, those are like the peaks in terms of like listeners right now with our current data. So I would say let's talk more about YouTube, because we're like spending more time around broader topics. If you're a frequent listener of the podcast, if you check the latest podcast episodes, they're more about general business stuff, which is also nice. I also enjoy talking about it, but like it's different. Like it's the YouTube Business Academy. So what are our listeners? What do they want to listen to?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's an interesting point you're bringing up between like what do people like focusing, thinking that we need to talk about YouTube only because it's the YouTube Business Academy, but then at the same time, do we evolve and bring the viewer on a journey with us and say, hey, like this was our starting point, but we grow as entrepreneurs, we grow as people, and we are also interested in many other things as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like I feel like, I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, because, Ron, there are people listening right now to this,
Yeah. Yeah.
watching this, right? So what do you guys feel is most kind of inspiring? Like, I know it's called the YouTube Business Academy, right? And I know that YouTube is a starting point, but is it just specifically that like you are interested in learning, or you're interested in like figuring out just this YouTube thing and content creation and outsourcing? Or are you tuning in to hear the stories? Are you tuning
Yeah.
in to see the progress, the evolution of two young guys who are, on a journey together to build something online that is worthwhile? And
Yeah, let us
you,
know, because if we look at the data, we should talk about YouTube. But that's my data-driven mind.
even if that requires change, because I feel like perhaps one of also the factors that um, influenced, or we perhaps had the
Can
most
I wait? Can
highs.
I interrupt you quickly? What do you prefer yourself to talk about?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Um, I mean, I think kind of naturally what we're gravitating now is more interesting to me. So the more mindset stuff, the more business stuff, right? The more entrepreneurship, the struggling part, to me, like it's all part of it, because uh, it feels a bit forced for me to tune in. Like, I see these podcasts almost like a public check-in with you weekly, so we keep each other accountable. We exchange ideas and thoughts and struggles that we're going through over the week, whatever it is happening, right, in this thing, because like we're working together, we have the community, right? And we're basically, interacting with other human beings and teaching them our ways of doing things online, right? Whether it's the content creation stuff. So just, focusing down and just talking about this YouTube, like, the YouTube search part, if it feels forced, if we have to talk about it for 1 hour every week,
Yeah, but
because
that's
it's not.
something we put up on ourselves. Like, we are saying we need to record 1 hour a week. That's our own choice. We could also say, yeah, we can only talk once about YouTube because there are not so many new things happening. We can also release an episode once a month. So
And then
it's our
here
own rule.
comes here comes an interesting thing, you guys. Okay, so we have the community, right? And where we, like I said, are helping others figure out this YouTube thing alongside us, right? And so we've like, I think maybe 20 to 25, maybe 23 people out of all of you listening to this have signed up to work with us, okay, over the past 3 or 4 months, right? So it's interesting because Ron and I, we both want to scale this coaching business, right? We both are basically trying to answer the question of how do we onboard more of you into our community, right? Help you guys, and at the same time help ourselves by also making money, right? So the question is, all of these people, because I was the one who is, doing the sales calls, and I'm the one who is talking with you guys right there in the front line. So, and I know that like 23 out of 100%, basically 100% of the people who have joined have come from the podcast. So the question is, do we do less of the thing that is driving us results? Do we do less of the thing that is responsible for 100% of the revenue in our company? Do we say, all right, well, this thing we this thing has worked, so we're going to take the proceeds from this and invest into a different marketing channel that is working for others, but we have no idea if it's working for us or not,
Yeah.
specifically the Instagram content.
Yeah. But of course, like the people that joined, did they join because they heard us talking about YouTube the whole time? And they are like, oh, I also want to do YouTube. Or do they join because we're talking about mindset and entrepreneurship? Because if you're basically going broader with the topics, you also attract a different audience, and you will not know if that audience will convert to making money on YouTube, which we offer in our coaching program. So that's my concern.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. I've taken all the sales calls. I know personally every single one of the people that we're working with, like very intricately. And so to me, the feeling that I get, it's not just the YouTube stuff. The YouTube stuff actually doesn't play that big of a
But
role,
what's
to
the
be honest.
first choice to listen to the podcast? They see YouTube Business
Yes.
Academy. They don't see, oh, they boys are two guys are struggling with something. They see something about YouTube. That's the
two,
first.
two
I
boys are
don't know.
struggling
I don't
with
know.
something.
The first thing that intrigues them is something that has to do with YouTube. Otherwise, they would not click on YouTube Business Academy.
Sure,
That's
but
my
what connects with people are the stories of
yeah.
these two
Of
of these
course,
two guys, so like even let's say that, for example, the podcast evolves naturally into like online business academy, right? Or involves into business academy or something like this, right? Even broader, right? So the people, my thinking goes, okay, the people would look for a business podcast, right, that has a reputation. They would find us eventually through search engine, for example, or
I
for
don't.
advertising,
The thing is,
or through
because
advertising.
we're not niching anymore. It will compete with like general business podcasts. Basically, we'll compete with the game of Alex Hormozy and other like My First Million, the Diary of a CEO. So you're
Yeah,
basically stepping out of a niche and also having more competition. So it could work. Like I'm not saying it can't work.
yeah, but I also feel that a big part of this media business and why it's so scalable is the fact that it's us. It's our stories. They're unique. What is happening on the podcast and what we talk about is very unique.
Could
So
be.
everybody has a niche of its own, right? We choose whether we want to talk about, YouTube. Like our views now in the last 90 days, I sent you the data in WhatsApp. I don't
Yeah,
know
and
if
I
you've
know
seen it.
why. Because
It's like a lot higher.
because we cut up our long form podcast videos in separate longer clips. That's why.
Exactly. We cut
Yeah.
up the long forms. We post shorts. We're posting the podcast, right? We've been doing it for a while, so I think it's only natural for us to just say, "Hey, like, let's go all in on this. Let's figure out how to make it the best podcast ever about business, about like sharing our journey and stuff." Because the people compliment us on the transparency. The people compliment us on being raw and being real, or sharing these things, and I think that's where our advantage lies. First, it's YouTube, of course, because that was our vehicle. The podcast reflects the things that we are doing. But do you, as a person, want to stay in this thing just because you think you can make a business out of it, or do you want to bring the viewers on a journey with you and say, hey, like, there are more things to life than just YouTube. Like, we know YouTube, we've done it, we have this as well, but let's explore other things as well. And for those of you who want to come on a journey with us, let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends, like what the audience says. Like if they want to learn more about YouTube, I'm all up for YouTube. The thing is that that's an area I'm an expert in. Like after many
Sure.
years, or like a long time, and yeah, jumping from like general business stuff. Like I'm not a mindset coach. I'm not an expert in SMMA. I'm not an expert in drop shipping. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm not inviting you to be one as well.
Yeah, but it becomes more difficult the broader you go, the less knowledgeable you are about specific topics.
Yes, I agree with that. But I think, like, okay, how about this? How about we make a form, a Google form, okay, for this? Remember, write it down. Let's make a
I
Google
think people
form.
can actually vote under the Spotify episode, like
They
within
can
the app.
vote, but are we really, like, we need raw data for you guys, please. If you're listening, this is the least you could do for us,
Yeah, okay,
please.
fair
I'm
enough.
asking you.
Yeah.
I'm asking you for a favor, okay? There's going to be a link underneath this show episode, right? Either on Spotify or on YouTube or whatever you're listening to this, okay? Click on that link. It's going to be a Google form link. And we're going to think of some questions to ask, but it's not going to be many questions, like a couple of questions. Basically, like, why you're listening to this podcast, right? Is it inspirational? Is it motivational, right? Is it informative? What kind of the value that you're getting out of this, right? What do you find interesting? because the last time I did one of these shout outs, a girl actually messaged me, a lady messaged me on Instagram saying, hey, like, this is why. And that got me thinking for the first time ever, why, right? Because the things she said, and like when I was also doing the sales calls and all these, right? People were like, oh yeah, they were like quoting the things that we were saying. They were referring back to our stories of us, doing the cold plunges, for example. Like, I told you everything
Yeah.
about these things, right? So yeah, I don't know. Like, my basically proposition is this: let's remove all distractions, all unnecessary marketing channels for now, because we need focus. Okay. Our podcast is the one thing that distinguishes us against everyone else. This is the content that we make, and this is how we came about in the first place. We have our first conversation on YouTube recorded on my channel. So this is the thing that kind of clicked for us in the first place. So I think remove everything else. If possible, increase the number of times we meet per week, right? We can come up with different ways to do content. We can look at the news, for example. We can comment on them together. We can try different like content formats.
We
They're
will
called,
attract a whole different audience. So
we will attract people who
yeah.
resonate with us.
So, but the thing is, how I see it, like we will have a form under this podcast episode, and there are some people here listening for months. And the reason why they stick to us is either us or maybe YouTube or that kind of stuff. So the things they will put in the form will probably resonate with what they've listened to the past months, which is part probably YouTube or us. I don't know. If we're then going to talk about stuff in the news and blah blah blah, just as an example, those people, I think they will not find it as interesting because it's not why they subscribe to our podcast. Basically, that's what I think. I don't know. Like it's not.
Yeah, could
I
be.
don't want to make content for the sake of making content.
Yeah. You don't want to make content for the sake of making content.
No, it should be about value towards the listener, because otherwise you're not respecting the listener's time as well.
I agree with that. But I don't think people just subscribe for the YouTube stuff. Like, YouTube
Let's
is
find
the
out.
current. YouTube is the no. Okay, people. Yes, you're so confident because like
No, I'm not
there's gonna
confident. Let's find out.
be
That's the question.
because
That's
there's
the
going
form.
to be but there's probably going to be a lot of people who say that because the podcast is called YouTube Business Academy, and we've been only talking about YouTube automation, so it's only natural that.
But why then ask the form?
The interests of the people.
But you want the form to listen to the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to ask what else is there? Like, if we want to evolve as people.
So they can say YouTube.
the things that we are interested in. Like we you and I, we talk, right? We create this. And people tune in and listen in. It's not just YouTube.
The thing is, if you look at the data, it is YouTube. But let's see what the form says. Like I'm open for everything, but it's just my gut feeling. And the thing is, like I actually like talking about YouTube because I have experience in that field. Like talking about YouTube every week, especially in the search niche, that's difficult because there's not always happening something, So, but let's see what the form says. Like I'm open for everything, and yeah. But like just making content for the sake of content, like I don't see the use of that. Like it needs to be valuable.
Not making content for the sake of content. It's making content because you have a podcast going on.
Yeah.
Like you're serving the audience, of course, but you're in the media business. You're publishing content. You need to if you look at the My First Million podcast, like I shared with you, they post a lot more than us. They have a lot more views.
Yeah. Have you seen how they started out? I've shared it with you as well.
How have they started out?
Like the first 2 years, 3 years, no views at all.
Yeah, but they went all in on the one thing, and then everything else followed.
I think it's not their main business. So it's just two co-founders. They have their own company. It's not their main thing. They're not selling a coaching program. They have some affiliate links so it's a different purpose. That's what I think.
Well, that's the thing, Do you make the content only to fuel the coaching business, or do you make the content to grow the podcast because you value it, and the people who come along, you invite them to be members of whatever it is that you are preaching?
It's both, in my opinion. Like we're not making.
Yes,
the thing is, we're not making. If we would fully focus on the podcast only, and we won't earn a single dollar from it. Like, why we can't even pay ourselves then? So it doesn't make sense. So
But
it needs to be
imagine,
both.
but remember our first ever episode. What did, like, why did we do it? We did it because both of us felt shit doing this thing alone. The
Yeah,
online
YouTube.
entrepreneurship.
YouTube at the
YouTube,
time.
yes,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it was that at that time YouTube. But I'm talking like two people meeting and being like, this computer world is lonely when you're just sitting here. Like, it'd be nice to share this journey with another person, at least once per week.
Yeah. That's what we've been doing, yeah. So are we neglecting the podcast then? I don't think so.
No, we're not, what do you mean?
You're saying we need to fully focus on the podcast, blah, blah, but we're already like focusing on it, but like we're sharing our story, we're sharing our journey already. So it's not that we're not like, that we're neglecting the podcast at all. Like we're still doing it.
Yes, but that's one part of it. The other
Yeah.
part of it, I'm saying, like you said, that if the profitability matters, of course, like, inviting more people to the community, growing the community, right? The coaching business, then that requires better quality, more volume, right? Like, sure, we're not neglecting the podcast as it is, but if this form of content resonates with people, right? And this has been the one responsible for all of the growth in our company.
Yeah.
Why don't we just go all in on this podcast and figure out how to make it work? Drop the Instagram, drop everything else, YouTube ads, everything that doesn't matter, like the funnels and stuff. The only thing that matters is growing the number of listeners that we have every single month by making better podcasts. And we do that by learning how to make a better podcast, more engaging, interacting with our audience, finding different topics that we could talk about. We cannot be too stuck with the YouTube thing. Yes, of course, it's the YouTube Business Academy and we want to turn it into coaching business. And that's why, what we started, we've been talking about. But at the same time,
Let's
it's
see.
about the connection. No, but like, listen to me. It's about, like, you're just saying, oh, the data will show, like
No,
you're
let
trying, you're,
the listeners, we need to listen to
of
the listeners.
course, but it's about creating the engagement. It's about interacting. It's about getting feedback, interacting, finding topics, testing. But it comes first and foremost from the decision to say that we are committed to this one thing.
Yeah, I agree,
And
but
this,
you will need guests because like you can
of
share a whole
course,
journey with 3 times a week, but nothing new happens.
of course, but that's, again, comes from commitment. If you commit and you say, this is the one thing I'm going to do every day really fucking well for the next 5 years, and I'm going to learn how to 10x first my podcast and then 100x my
Yeah.
podcast. So we can get hundreds of thousands of views or listens per episode.
Yeah.
Then
but,
you figure out how to get guests on the podcast. You figure out how to cut up clips, how to get better quality, how to post more, how to do more shorts, for example, so attract a larger
we can
pool of
already
people.
do shorts, verticals, like
Yes,
we have
to subscribe to the podcast, publish more audio and just grow it. And then as well, like the proceeds that we get from attracting people to our community, reinvest them into the growth of the podcast, spend money on promotional advertising, figure out what our audience wants, how we want to position ourselves properly for a wider audience, because this YouTube automation audience is only so limited, right? And it's not, and we found out that it's not the people looking for the vehicle. At the end of the day, it's people who are currently working a 9-to-5 job and who want to find some kind of a vehicle. And YouTube in this moment sounds attractive to them, right? To build freedom and independence for themselves. So this can be our vehicle that got us into started and everything, right? And we know how it works. We can explain it to you and you can get into the media publishing content creation space.
Yeah, let's see. Like, I'm curious what the audience will say. That's the thing.
Guys, please help us.
Yeah, but I see it two different things. We have the podcast and we have the coaching business. Two different businesses, in my opinion. So if you want to scale a coaching program, coaching business, you basically need to pull people from that are not familiar with YouTube yet. You need to let them know, like, hey, you can actually replace your 9-to-5 job with YouTube. To reach those people, you will not reach them through a podcast immediately, because they will not, out of nowhere, watch a YouTube Business Academy podcast of 45 minutes. They need to be triggered somewhere.
That's what happened. the 23 or
No,
5
because
people or
no,
whatever that
no, that's
we have
those
attracted.
searched on Spotify probably, like YouTube or making money online or passive
Yeah, but
income.
so basically they
They're aware already.
somehow organically we have attracted people, and
Yeah.
they liked what we have to say. That's what I'm saying. So there's the organic reach part, and then there is the paid advertising part of it as well. You're saying the podcast and the coaching business are two different things, but
Yeah.
they're absolutely not. They're 100%
No.
intertwined.
The
If we
podcast
didn't
is
have a
the podcast is the lead machine. It's generating leads for us for a different
so it's
business.
so it's part of the business. No, 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 no. It's not two separate things. The
Why
podcast
is
is
our
100% responsible for
yes
100% of the revenue in the coaching business. Period.
yes, it's a traffic source, but our community is not called YouTube Business Academy. It's a completely different entity that's generating us the leads for our business. Our business is different. I just see the YBA podcast as a lead machine for our coaching business.
Why are you discounting your
No, it's two
single?
separate things. It's a
Huh?
lead machine. It's generating us the leads. That's how I see the podcast, which is also true because all the leads came from the podcast to our coaching business. I see it as two separate
Every
things.
single dollar we made through
Yeah,
the coaching business came by people
but the
signing
podcast
up
is different
who
than
have
coaching people. It's a
who
different
have been
business.
absolutely not.
Okay, now
You're pro-
guys, let us know.
you're providing free value to you're no no you're providing free value. People are you're hoping that people are going to find this valuable, the information that you're saying, and then they're going to come and work with you. It's two it's the single most important thing. If you remove the podcast from the coaching
I'm not
business
saying
right now,
I'm not saying to remove it. I'm
but
seeing
I'm just
two different entities. One is a media business, the podcast. One is a coaching business or program. Two separate things.
yeah, and 100% of your coaching proceeds
Yeah,
came because you have a podcast.
that's incorrect because there are also people coming from YouTube long form. That's also like it's a lead generator element in the coaching program. That's how I see the podcast.
100% of the revenue we made came from people
Yeah,
who
but
listen to
never
podcasts.
mind. Like you're
100.
not listening what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm not saying that's not true. But the podcast itself is a different type of business than coaching. It's a whole different thing.
Media, okay, media publishing, right? And then the coaching
In
business is
coaching,
the
yeah.
coaching, yeah. So I'm saying, okay, we want to scale the coaching business, and the only thing that has worked for us is the podcast. So my only question is, why don't we double down on the podcast and set ourselves a goal to 10x the current views and listens we get here?
Yeah. And my answer to that already, like maybe for the listeners then, I think if you go broad with the podcast, you will attract many people that are not interested in YouTube as well. And therefore losing like the current audience that we have because they're not interested in the broad thing. And therefore, like you're not converting as many people to the community as we're doing now because we're not in a niche anymore then. That's my opinion. Could be wrong. So guys, let me know what you think. Yeah.
But why are you so like YouTube kind of like
Because that's our expertise and we are
tunnel
credible
vision?
in there. We have made the money in there. We can actually teach people in that area. Like we can help people actually to replace their 9 to 5 job in that expertise.
Yeah, but it's not rocket science. Like you've
For
done
us it's
these
not. For us it's not,
yeah, yeah,
correct?
yeah. But sure, but we've done a lot of these coaching calls. What people struggle with is not the technical step by step how to things. Like once you hear it once, how to do it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I understand it. It's not rocket science. But what people really value is the accountability aspect of it. Oh,
Also,
we
yeah.
get to we no, not also this is the main thing.
It's
Oh, I
both.
get to
If you don't
I
have the steps, then you can
nay,
also
it's
be
that
accountable.
accountability. It's working with the people. I've
Yeah.
talked with everybody. It's like I know
Me
there's a
too.
group
I'm
coach.
also in the coaching calls. Don't act like
Of
I don't know what I'm
course.
talking about.
No, of course. But at the same time, like people say, it's the accountability like that
Yeah.
they get every week. It's the knowing that there are other people who I'm doing this with. I can ask a question. It's it's a lot about overcoming procrastination. It's a lot about commitment. It's a lot about having accountability
It's in
partners.
the
Like,
end that they're getting the results as well. They want to replace their 9 to 5 job. That's why they're in a community. So we should help them with achieving that goal. That's the main purpose. So
yes,
that's
it's
with
we.
accountability. That's with giving tips and tricks. That's with giving them new information regarding YouTube search. The main goal is to make them succeed. That's my main
Yeah,
goal. Only main
yes,
goal I
but
have.
at the same time, getting to that making that I agree with you, making that transformation happen requires the technical step-by-step how-to things that we provide in the course and in the coaching. But coaching business entails a lot more
Of
than just,
course.
if you were a teacher at a swimming teacher at the pool, you think it's just about this? No, it's a lot about, like, all right, keep going, improve this, improve that. It's an ongoing
Yeah.
process. That's
But
what's called a
we
coaching
yeah, but
business.
we can say improve this, do that. We can say that because we have credibility within our niche. That's why.
Yeah, but we also have credibility in making the, like, things on the internet. Like, it's a broader way to look at it, because look, this comes down to the people listening. Not just listening, but also, by the way, big distinction, people who listen and people who actually come on board and become members. Because the people who come members, what are their ages? 35 to 44, most of them. There were few exceptions. Most of the people,
Like
most of
80%.
the most of the people, the what's it called? Not the demographic, but the psychographic markup is, they have some kind of a job, they don't like it, right, and they're looking for a way to replace it. So, yeah.
I think it's logical because older people also listen more to podcasts, I think. Could be wrong. But the thing is, if we've done 1.5 years of Instagram posting instead of podcast posting, the age group will be different of our community.
Say it again.
If we didn't have the podcast for 1.5 year, but we would be posting on Instagram about YouTube automation for 1.5 year, our community will probably exist among younger people. So that would change the group that we have now already. So the current members is just it's because of the podcast. Like the audience that we attract is older people. That's why older people convert. If we would attract more younger audiences, we will convert more young people. So it's just because we chose the podcast medium. That's what I think.
We didn't choose the podcast medium; the medium chose us.
Yeah, yeah, it was just by
because
random.
because you don't really like the Instagram, you don't really like the shorts yourself, right?
Yeah.
But what you do like is the long form. Like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, you do probably as well,
Yeah.
and we do one ourselves because we talk and we like to do it. But what I was gonna say about the audience as well is, you know, people are looking to oh fuck, I forgot what I wanted to say, man. Anyway,
Probably come up later.
yeah, probably come up later.
Let's see.
So yeah,
We need your help, guys. That's the end conclusion here.
yeah, that's the end conclusion. We need help to figure this whole thing out. Yeah, I forgot. That was a very important thing that I wanted to say, but I completely forgot it, man. All right, it'll come back. It'll come back. What has been an update for you over the week? What have you been up to?
Yeah, not so much. Like, I'm uploading more shorter videos, under 3 minutes on YouTube, which are paying me more money. Yeah, 5K a month, less month in total. It's stable. It's nice and growing. Yeah, not much. Like, it's all going well, actually, YouTube-wise. And yeah, other things. No other things. Like, I already did an update last week.
How do you feel in the Netherlands? Are you living a good routine?
I'm planning to move soon, but we need to figure out a way with the podcast and the coaching calls. So let's see. I'm looking forward to go to the sun, actually.
Are you going to? You said you're booked to travel, right?
Yeah, but it's in May.
Oh, in May. Oh, that's pretty soon.
Yeah, but I want to go to Thailand, probably like to Phuket and Koh Samui, do some Thai boxing, do some like cruising around.
Yeah.
But we'll need to see because depends on what people answer in the form. Just kidding. But let's see. Like
why can't you do a podcast from Thailand?
we can do that, but that's no problem indeed. The coaching calls though will be difficult. 12 p.m. I think, but that will be fine. But because we need to bring our students to the 3 to 5K mark a month. But like that's on my mind, so I want to go soon. I think maybe next month because I don't feel. I feel a little bit restless at home because there's not much going on here. It's a bit boring.
Yeah.
What about you? You don't have that because Dubai was the complete opposite.
No, I don't have that at all. I mean, I'm processing a lot of the things going on. I wrote down in my diary, like, I went to my parents' place this morning. My dad asked me to help him fix something, and it was a very nice, beautiful experience. And when I came back, I wrote down, be realistic, don't be dumb. Simple advice, but it's worthy, right? Of course, like I just been thinking a lot about like being real. Like, what is it that you're producing? Not trying to find shortcuts to things, but saying, okay, we're committed to this thing. We're going to make it work. We're going to do the hard work. We're going to commit. We're going to show up. We have no problem showing up.
No.
But I don't think we have this commitment to doing the hard work that what is required. So
I disagree.
We need to look at the numbers. Like, we need to look the devil in the eyes and say, hey, this is what works. Let's double down on the thing that works. It's not often that things work, but when they do, that requires you to figure out. We don't know what's best right now. We will look back at this podcast, probably episode, and we're going to be like, oh, look at us. Like, we didn't know how the future unfold. But
that's always the case with everything.
Yeah, right now it's so like uncertain about what's going to happen. But my vision is I would love to continue doing this podcast. I would love to, not transition, but like grow as entrepreneurs and bring the viewers and the listeners on a journey with us about what is it that we're doing.
But then you need to have an interesting business going on in your life, if I'm honest. Like an interesting thing. Like, why would listeners listen to us? There needs to be something that you're working on, or something bigger, something.
Because you want to, because we're doing this online business thing.
Yeah, but there needs stuff going on. We need stuff to happen.
Thing. This is what I was going to say. The people who reach out to us, they have no idea how to make money on the internet. Yeah. So when these two young guys who are building this whole online thing, they come along and they're like, yes, I like that. They're transparent, they're honest, they're just saying as it is, they're struggling, they're trying to make this online business work. So I want to connect with them. I want to work with them. That's where the value really lies, broer. Because the people who subscribe and who work with us, right, most of them have never made their like $1 online. That's why I did the name of the student interview I did with Jan and with Julio, how to make your first $1 online at 37, for example, or with YouTube automation, right? Because that's what it is, and there's not, and YouTube is one way, and that's the way that has worked for us. But at the end, the value lies in us working with these like slightly older folks. I'm not calling you guys old. I'm just saying slightly older, because for us, right? I'm 28, but hey, I'm going to be 35 soon, right? From 35 to 44. People connect. They love the energy in us. They love the transparency, the honesty, and
that's
connect.
why they join. Yeah, but in the end, they just want to replace their 9 to 5. They just want to have 3 to 5K a month. That's
exactly
why
they're in there. And the vehicle doesn't matter.
They don't care about but they don't care about $1. They don't care about us. Of course, it's nice that we're good guys. It's nice. It's nice to have. But in the end, they want to say to their boss, hey, I can quit my job because I'm making money through YouTube. And that should be our own goal.
No. They want to say that to their job, but they don't care whether it's YouTube or anything else that we believe is the best way, to figure out this online. For us, it has worked. So yes, we are.
But for us to help people, like the biggest guarantee we can give people to earn 3 to 5K a month is YouTube, because we've done it ourselves. So to help people the best way possible, we should be talking about that. So
it's not just YouTube. YouTube is...
Have you made 3 to 5K a month with other business models consistently?
Content creation. It's not just YouTube. It's content creation. That's what you need to fucking learn. And once you know content creation and you can generate traffic, then you can drive that traffic to, or just monetize it through ad revenue. That's one way.
YouTube is the biggest platform. for content creation.
I'm the big I'm a bigger advocate of affiliate marketing than I am of ad revenue, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's also what we're teaching.
Yeah, but it's all part of this bigger vision of, hey, I fucking hate my job. I want to tell my boss,
Yeah.
fuck you. And I know that I want to make money on the internet. I heard and I trust and I believe that YouTube automation is one of the good ways. And then I stumble upon this podcast. I listen to these guys. I like them. And that's why I want to work with them.
Yeah, but they
That's
would
one of the
never
ways.
they would never hear about YouTube automation if we'd be talking about bullshit things happening in the news.
But people who think that YouTube automation is just the best vehicle for them, then they find us. And that's one segment of the market.
Yeah.
The other segment of the market, they're unaware of the vehicle.
Exactly.
They just say, fuck my job, I hate my boss, I want to replace my income. And then they go out on a search. And that's one ladder up or one ladder down, or I don't know how you put it, but like a larger pool of audience. And those are the people that I want to attract to. Those are the people that I want to talk to because they're the same people. They just don't know about the vehicle.
Yeah, but you if you want to grow big, you want to reach the people that are not aware yet that they have the desire to replace their job. You know? So
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm saying let's figure out how we can talk and to people who are unaware of the vehicle YouTube automation. That's what I'm saying. And we should rebrand our podcast and rebrand our titles and everything to target that. And then if the people the people who we reach, the broader audience, say, oh yes, we would be interested in YouTube automation, then we can say yes, that's one of our vehicles.
Yeah, but they need to be able to, like, if we're not talking about YouTube automation, they don't know that we offer that. I think we need there are different strategies in place to attract those people. I don't think podcast is the right one, but that's my opinion. Let's see what the audience will say.
What do you mean it's not the right way?
This
is the only fucking way that has worked for you,
the
motherfucker.
podcast is a nurturing machine, basically. That's how I see it on the long term.
Oh my god! Oh
Guys,
my god! I would fucking kill you if I was here.
It's good.
The podcast is not a nurturing machine.
But
the podcast is the only machine. The podcast is the only machine that has worked for you and that has generated you money in the coaching business. It's not a nurturing machine. People have discovered it through organic search,
and they
have discovered it because we are in a small niche talking about YouTube automation. If we keep the podcast as a core and we transition our content to reach broader people who are generally interested in saying fuck you to their boss and building an online business, some sorts of the other, whether it's dependent upon content creation, whether it's dependent upon whatever it is, at the current time is content creation, right? But we need to reach a broader pool of people. And we do that through the podcast. There are podcasts who reach a lot of people all the time. Yes, there are frequent listeners, there are new listeners, but we need to grow this. And to grow this, we need to exit the YouTube automation niche and we need to go broader. And instead of attracting people who are looking for the vehicle, we need to attract people who are in a psychographic, meaning that they match the criteria of 35 to 44. They want to say fuck you to their boss and they're looking to build an online business. That is what we need to do.
You can also reach those people through YouTube long form or YouTube Instagram posts or different way. Like, why a 45-minute podcast?
Because it's the thing that has worked for us. It is the thing that has proven. I'm saying let's not try to make another marketing channel.
No, but I say, like, so many podcasts use vertical clips to grow their podcast because it's so easy for people to check something that's happening for 10 seconds and then they're like, oh, that's interesting, I'll watch the full episode later. That makes more sense. So you have short clips to get more awareness and then funnel people to the podcast. That makes more sense to me because then it's like a logical step. But
okay. The shorts, right? They can be done to attract new people, new subscribers, right? Whatever. But the trust building happens over this.
Yes, it's a nurturing machine. Exactly. You're now saying it wrong.
you are
Trust
also
building.
attracting new people with the podcast as well.
Yeah, but there are better ways to attract more
People
people
might
in masses. That's what I think.
There are different ways.
Yeah, there are
The
multiple ways.
shorts
Is what I'm
shorts is
saying.
one fucking way. You can also buy paid advertising.
Yeah.
You can promote your podcast on YouTube. You can promote your podcast on Spotify. It's just shorts is just one way. Now you're starting to think how to promote the podcast with other ways.
Yeah, but promoting podcasts on ads is so weird to me. Like,
Well,
so
okay,
no,
it's not
no,
about you. It's
I
about
know,
reaching
but like if
people.
you just think like a 45 minutes episode, why would someone like watch that when it's an ad? Someone should need to be genuinely interested in what we're talking about and not like,
That's
oh,
one
it's in
of
your
the ways.
face. Yeah, I
That's
know.
one of the ways.
Yeah.
Another way, for example, is to get a shout out on a different podcast that has already have listeners. Hey
You need more
guys,
guests. You need to leverage guests. That's the fastest way. That's how every other podcast is doing it.
you can do shout outs, like paid shout outs. Hey, can you please give us a shout out on your podcast? That's one way. And you get traffic from that. Another way, you can leverage someone's name, but for that you need to reach out, you need to organize, you need to fly out,
Yeah.
you need to like do the
Yeah.
whole thing. But that's what I'm saying, committing to it and going all in. It's about, and then when you make a commitment to figure out how to reach 10 times more people on the podcast, then your brain starts thinking in a different way. You start thinking, okay, shout outs, paid advertising, what can we do? Can we do shorts? Can we do whatever? Then you start to think about it,
Well, I think
but
first
not
we need to
spreading.
decide what our niche will be, because then you know what to talk about. So let's see what
It's not about, I don't think, okay, I think it's not about niche. I think it's about the psychographic of the people that resonate with us. Look, the people who resonate with us and who have voted with their wallets that we want to work with George and Ron fall into the category of 35 to 44. They have a job. They want to say fuck you to their boss and they want to build an online business. That are the people who resonate with us, and those are the people who vote with their wallet that they want to work with
yeah,
us.
because we have the knowledge in YouTube. That's the thing.
No,
That's
no,
what I said. Yeah,
no,
of course.
no. They
Where's
they
our other
resonate.
knowledge?
They resonate with that, and then they believe us that this vehicle that we are preaching is the best for them as well to get started with the online
Because we
world,
got results with it.
and that is true. Yes, we can teach that, and we will only teach and we will only help you with something that we have done as well. But how we reach these people and how we tell them about this vehicle that we have, that's a different thing. I'm saying the front end marketing doesn't need to revolve around the vehicle. The front end marketing, how we position the title, the thumbnail, the headline, the hook, needs to be talking to those people, not about the vehicle.
Could be.
I'm not saying let's change the vehicle. Let's keep the vehicle. I'm fine with the vehicle. I'm saying let's change the way we put front end marketing. That's number one. Number two, let's go all in on the podcast. And number three, let's remove everything else that is not the podcast, that is not supporting the growth of the podcast. Creating Instagram content is not supporting the growth of podcasts.
I think eventually, like, there are so many proof of concepts that it can work. We haven't tried Instagram for longer than a month, so we can't say it's not working. The thing is, with the podcast, we eventually will become the bottleneck. We need to keep producing content. We need to keep coming up with new, interesting content for our listeners. We don't want to waste their time.
Yes,
We need to
of
find
course.
constantly new guests. If I'm honest,
Of
that's
course.
not my ambition. I'm not being like, the thing is, then I'm getting basically in a position pushed that I'm basically in a 9 to 5, but then of my own podcast, because I need to move. I need to record every like 3 times a week, and so many bottlenecks that can happen on the future. Instagram content is more scalable, plus it's working for other people. So then I'd say scale that, try that for 1 year. We haven't done that as well. So it's too early to say, yeah, let's just do that. And the podcast can be used to nurture the Instagram followers. That's how I see it.
Of course, you need to do the work.
Yeah.
How do you want to build a business if you're not willing to show up 3 times a week? And if you're in the media business,
yeah, but
just
why do you
wanna
think
get it-
I'm
you just-
outsourcing all my videos? I don't like making videos. So I don't like showing up 3 times a week for a podcast. That's not my personal interest.
but that's what you need to do. You don't need to show up 3 times
But
per
I'm
week.
not going to do shit I don't like. So That's
You
why I'm
don't
saying this.
you don't need to you don't need to show up 3 times a week, but you need to commit and have one thing only.
I'm
You cannot
committing.
half-ass. You cannot half-ass and do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm gonna do podcasts. I'm gonna do Instagram. I don't want to work. I just want to work for 4 hours a week. I'm gonna outsource this. I'm gonna. Do you understand? If you commit and you make the podcast work and you grow it, you can increase your views 10 times, 100 times,
Yeah, but that's
fucking
you can
thousand
increase.
times.
In the end, we learned at the Tai Lopez seminar, everything can work as long as you stick to it and you go experiment. Everything can
What
work.
what has worked for you over the past 1.5 years working?
YouTube search.
What has worked?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about selling coaching business. What's the one thing that has worked? The
YouTube.
podcast. The
Yeah,
podcast.
but also YouTube long form. We closed not the growth from came through the podcast because they got nurtured in the podcast. I don't know how they eventually reached the podcast.
Okay,
I don't
brother.
know.
I will tell you a little secret, okay? I've done every sales call. Every single person that bought from us said the exact. I have every conversation recorded. Every single person came from the podcast. They discovered the podcast and they said, I got interested in the vehicle, aka YTA.
Yeah.
Then I came across you guys. I really like you. I really resonate with your stories. I trust you. That's what they're saying. And they say, I want to work with you.
Yeah, they already know YouTube automation. Like those
Yes. And we're
people
and
will
we're
always find
targeting.
us. If you're looking YouTube automation in Spotify, you will find us. So we are already findable by those kind of people. They will find us
Yes.
already. So the
And I'm
question is
saying
how we reach an unaware audience. And an
exactly.
unaware audience that never heard of us will never ever listen to a 45-minute episode because we need to spark their interest first with something small, an Instagram reel, Instagram post, a YouTube short, and then they get funneled to the longer form podcast. That's what I think. Could be wrong. Or you need to then skip YouTube
But
talk,
how do you
talk about
think that
broad stuff.
how do you think that the people who have discovered us now discovered?
I think through Spotify, like 80% of the views is through Spotify. So they just search on Spotify, passive income, YouTube automation, make money online. That's what I've said. Those keywords we are ranking for. Like there is no other way how our podcast will be. Like it's not that Spotify is pushing us on the homepage.
Yes, it is. Look at the data.
No.
Of course it is. Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
but we're
Yes.
not easy
Look at
to
the
find. I'm looking at the data.
and I'm saying let's make it in a way that it will make broader audience easier to find us.
So you want to
That's
rank
what I'm
on make
saying.
money online and that kind of stuff.
I want to rank for that. Matter of fact, I want to promote our podcast for those keywords as well. So the people who are in that market could discover us and could start building a relationship with us.
Well,
Not just
they
the
can find us
not
already.
not just the YTA people. I'm saying broader people who fit into the psychographic that I told you about. You remember the psychographic I told you? Into that, people who fall into that psychographic, which are a lot of people. And so that's the one layer. The second layer is then they start looking for all the different vehicles. And only the people who are interested in this specific vehicle, they get funneled to that thing because that's what we are ranked for as of right now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying let's go up a level and let's attract a wider audience of people. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm saying it as well, but I'm seeing a different medium to attract new people, and use podcast as a nurturing thing. That's how I see it. But it doesn't matter. Like, let's see what the comments will
No,
say.
of course it matters. Of course it matters.
No, I want to hear the opinion of other people because, like, we're both disagreeing, so we can agree to disagree. Now let's see what our audience will say, and then we have some more input.
Yeah, but
like,
it is important.
It's you versus me, so there's no decision to be made.
No,
so we
but
need some sides.
It's not. We're not taking sides.
No, but
it's not you versus me.
No, but when you have different opinions, you stand then
we are a team. We are not you versus me. We are a team.
Yeah, I know. But when
but it depends. No, it matters. The way you the words you say and how you
but that's the Dutch
about it.
to English translation. It's just you have an opinion and I have an opinion, and they're different.
but we're moving into one direction.
Eventually, I hope. Yeah, would be nice.
No, you and I, we're both moving into one direction, right?
Yeah, so we
That's
need the
what
input from
matters.
the audience, which direction, basically, so we can make better decisions.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like your decisions is mostly focused on what you would like to do, rather than what the audience wants.
You know what I want? I want to grow the goddamn business, and I want to connect to more people, and I want to grow the one thing. Be real. Not look what works for others, for Niklas, for this and for that, and
But they're doing it better than us. They're doing it better than us.
You know what's happening? Shiny object syndrome is happening. Oh, look, this is working for.
I'm not constantly changing from strategy.
Oh, 100%. This is a shiny object syndrome. Yes, 1,000,000,000%. We had one
I wanted
thing.
to stick with Instagram in November. I didn't want to change.
We had one thing. That was the podcast. Then we say, oh, look at this guy. He's doing William. He's doing this and this and that. So we can do that. Oh, look at Niklas. He's doing Instagram. Dude, fuck everyone else.
Like I said, everything can work.
Yes, but we need to look at what already has been working for you and for me.
Yeah,
for both of us.
Because we're doing this consistently. That's why it's working. If we do something else consistently, it will also work.
And so that's the sign that we should double down and commit to just one thing, because this is the one thing that we've been able to do consistently.
Yeah, but I think if we can do something, if we can do Instagram consistently, we will reach higher heights than when we will do it with a podcast. That's my conviction. No, it's because you are looking at the data we have right now on the podcast.
Guys, no. I'm deleting the Instagram app. Don't follow us on Instagram. Fuck Instagram.
No, we need the feedback. Don't tell what to do. Give the feedback. Like, if we would have continued with Instagram for 1.5 years, I'm sure we reached way more people than the couple thousand people reach right now with the podcast.
The reason we reach less people with the podcast is because we're too
more qualified
down. Because our fucking asses are in our heads are in our asses, and we're.
But if the audience wants to listen,
YouTube automation.
Yeah, but if the audience likes it, let's see.
That we are attracting the audience about the things we talk about. If we talk about different things, we would attract a different audience. And I'm saying, let's change the fucking keywords and positioning, and instead of attracting an audience that is only interested in YTA, let's attract the people that have the psychographic of those people, but they're not aware of the vehicle, and let's position ourselves differently. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, why do we need to do the Instagram? Jesus Christ, the one thing that worked for us, the one thing, it's right in front of you. You're looking at it.
We also close people through DM on Instagram, so it's also
numbers.
It also has a feature.
People lie, but numbers don't.
Yeah, but many people
look at the numbers.
A couple people came from the podcast to your Instagram, DM'd you, started a conversation on Instagram, and then you booked a call through Instagram. Yeah. They would have booked a call if they didn't listen to the podcast. So it's all an ecosystem. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Okay, that's one thing, but we don't need to be growing our reach. Maybe the people want to connect with us personally through Instagram. You're welcome to do that. But that does not mean that we need to reach more people on Instagram. That means that you and I need to reach more people with the podcast. And if the people want to connect with us personally, they can find the links to our to our Instagrams down below, and they can connect with us and give us feedback. Or if they want to work with us, they can message us and say, hey, I would like to work with you. But Instagram, it's like you're trying to get from point A to point B, right? But you're trying to do that with another thing. You're trying to like go from A to B, but you first want to go to C, so from C can lead you to B. No. Look at the numbers. So simple. We do this, it brings in the money. So then we take the money and then we reinvest it into a different thing because we believe that will work. And I'm saying, dude, why? Let's just take the money and put it into the very thing that makes it in the first place, and be real and be smart about it and not wasteful, and say, this is real, people connect, this is work, yes, but I'm committed to work. I'm committed to providing value to the people who give me their time. People are giving you their time.
Yeah, so respect it.
Yeah, so respect it. So by saying, "Oh, I don't want to show up and work,"
But
you're
that's my
putting in
personal ambition. Like,
you're
there's no.
working 1 hour per week. And you know how many people give you hours back? This is what's called leverage. Go to our podcast. I will tell you right
Dude,
now.
I know what fucking leverage is. It's my personal ambition. Like, you can't say, "Oh, Ron, if you don't like making 3 podcasts a week, like that's a shame." Like, I can decide what I want to do in my life. Like, it's my own interest, so that doesn't make sense.
Okay, but did you?
Like,
I think I overheard you wanted to build, you know, a business teaching people in a coaching business and like helping them.
yeah,
Yeah, and didn't I also hear that like you got the most results in this business currently with this thing? So I'm saying, okay, if you want to do this, if you want to grow this,
I got
why
the
don't you
most
want to double?
results with automating all my content. Yeah, without me showing up.
That's not true. In the coaching business, you got the most results because for the past 1.5 years, you've been showing up every week with me on this podcast, and we've been recording our
I
thoughts,
was
our
talking about
ideas.
my YouTube channel,
Yeah,
my
okay.
automated YouTube channel.
I'm talking about the coaching business. Okay, so there's the coaching business, and there are different marketing channels. We've tried many different things,
For
and the one
short
marketing
periods.
and the one marketing channel that has worked for us.
Because we were
People
consistent with it.
lie, but numbers don't.
Because we were consistent with it. That's the thing.
And there is a reason why we've been able to be consistent with this
Yeah,
one thing.
because we agreed
So
to ourselves, let's do it 1 time a week. And we haven't agreed on all the other things to do it that long, you know? If
and
you do
this
it,
one thing that we've committed to do has brought in all the results.
yeah, but I think it's not the logical vehicle to grow our coaching business. For now, it looks like it's the best vehicle because we have the most data there of past 1.5 year. For now, it looks the best vehicle. If you would like
Because it's
5 years from now, I think there are different vehicles out there which we can scale much faster if we invest also 1 year in it. That's what I
of
think.
course,
And I've
but
said it
that's
many, many
later.
times.
But that's later down the line when you have resources, when you have money to spend to hire agencies who can help you with other socials.
Yeah.
To figure out a social platform, to figure out a content medium takes a lot of fucking time, and you don't have these resources, and you're only willing to spend 1 hour. So if you're getting right now 100, 200, 300 views or listens or 500, whatever per episode, imagine how it would feel if you would do the same amount of work.
We got more.
But
We
if
got
you
Spotify.
grew the reach, now instead of reaching 100 people, every episode would reach 100,000 people or
If you
20,000 or
change,
20,000
yeah,
people.
if you change the podcast style, the topics. So we need to see if there's if people want to hear that.
It's not about people wanting to hear. There are people who
But
want
it's
to
about
hear
the
this.
people, not about
It's
us.
about how we connect with these people, how we market ourselves to these people. People have already voted that they want to listen to us on the small scale because our marketing
But
has
it
been on a
decreased.
small scale.
Our views decreased when we switched.
Yes,
Yeah, so that's
but
also basically
no,
a
no, no, no,
vote
no, no,
saying
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
like the
Hold up, hold
content.
up, hold up. No, 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 no. It's not. No, 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 no. Hold up. We are getting more views in the
You're
last
checking
90 days.
YouTube. You're not podcast
I'm
is
taking
80% of
YouTube.
our traffic.
I saw that as well. Yes,
Yeah. So
but at the same time, YouTube is
yeah,
growing.
but if you combine everything, actually we've been dropping views when we switched the content.
It's not when we switch the content. I checked the drop. We've been dropping a lot earlier than that. Even when we started before that, it wasn't when we started talking about more general topics. 100% not.
Okay, I'll check
I've
again.
checked it, and you know it yourself.
No,
In the last
our
90
peak was
days,
shorts and our journey.
in the last 90 days combined, we have more views than we've had in the same period
On
1 year
YouTube.
ago.
On YouTube, yeah. Spotify is like 80% of the traffic. Look at look at those numbers. Look at
Look.
Acast.
Look, Ron, we know the people who resonate with us. Okay, we know them. We know how they look. We know the people because they voted. They work with us in the community.
But views are also votes.
So we need to find those people. We need to figure out how to connect more with those people. And trust me, there are more people outside of the YouTube automation niche.
Of course,
if you want
I
to
agree.
grow this, there are more people like that who we have attracted
100%.
outside of the YouTube automation niche. So please listen. Let's, number one, drop everything except for one thing, and that is figuring out how to grow the podcast. And let's grow it together. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be finding guests, reaching out to them, scheduling appointments, flying there,
Yeah,
interviewing
but that's
them.
not my interest, George.
That's how we're going to tap into the audience.
Yeah, but
That's how we're
first
going to
let's
tap
see
into
the
their
response of
audiences.
our community.
But that's how you need to grow it. That's how you need to put money into advertising. You need to have guests. People don't just want to hear us, they want to hear other people from the online business space in general. Tell me that's not true.
I don't know. Let's see. It depends on who your target audience is and what they like.
Well, we already know the people who vote with their wallets that they want to work with us are anywhere from 35 to 44 who have a job. They are okay with the job, but they would love to have more freedom and independence.
Yeah.
And they believe that they can do that somehow on the internet. Here's the thing that where we kind of disagree in our thinking, right? I'm saying that these people, they don't necessarily care whether it's YouTube or whether it's something else on the internet. I'm saying for them, the transformation is first they say, oh my God, this internet thing is a hard one, but I really want to learn. I want to commit to this. Okay. And then they say to me, hey, look, if I can make at least my first $1 online, if I can make $10, $100 online, for me, that will be enough of motivation to go all in on this thing. My neighbor as well, Simo, we were going for a swim the other morning. He said, yo, I listened to that interview you did with Julio. It's so inspirational, it's so motivational that, you can see these regular people, not just these professionals who can, go into this internet thing and start making money there as well. For a
Yeah.
lot of the people, bro, there's such a big barrier to entry into the
But
internet.
if you check, for example, the views of the interview you did with Jan, it had more views than the previous podcast episode. Why should we not do more interviews then?
We should. Of course, we should. But I'm saying we should double down on the things that work. We should figure out more content ideas that can work. We should produce more content, interviews, interesting questions like Q&A kind of thing, quizzes. We can do some live interaction engagement, like whatever it is. We can come up with different content formats.
Yeah, but as I said, like I am the back end guy, Like I like being in front of a camera from time to time, but I'm not the guy recording 3-4 episodes or something else a week. I'm just not that guy.
Okay, fine. I like to do it. I like to record podcasts. I like to talk.
I know you like to do it.
Ron is on the back end. So if some of you guys are listening, want to come on the podcast instead of Ron once in a while and talk with me about all things online business, mindset, and so forth. And if Ron is not against that, you're welcome.
Go ahead.
Bam.
All right. Come. I think that's a nice invitation to end the show.
Okay. So you heard me about the Instagram. I'm not continuing with that.
Sure.
I'm going all in. I'm going all in on the pod. I want you to go all in on the pod as well from the perspective of data and the processes.
Yeah, let's wait for the data from the audience.
Like you have it best, right? Because you have very good with the process, with the systems and stuff. And yes, that's great. I'll be the frontman person. You are on the back end person. But that also requires to look at the data and say, hey, this is what's working. This is what people like. Like, this is how we can grow. We can do shout outs. We can do advertising. We can tap into this. But let's go broader. Let's commit to one thing. Let's drop everything else. And I guarantee in 12 months, if we just go all in on podcasts. But by the way, you know what? I disagree. I don't think that other people should be doing this instead of you. I think that people like you. Please let Ron know. Please okay, there we go, motherfucker. But there we go.
The thing is, I also have my own personal life and ambitions. Like I quit.
You just said that you want to serve an audience. You want to serve people.
Yeah, in a coaching call. When people want to learn what I know and I pay money for it, I will do everything to help them achieve that goal.
Okay.
Because they pay for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
and you need to serve these people. And in order to you to serve them, they first need to find you. And in
No,
order for
the
them to
thing is they
find
need
you,
to.
you also need to do work.
No, but the thing is, I'm good at the delivery, the back end. I'm going to help people, and the whole reaching towards people, I don't mind so much. Like I know something other people don't know, so if they want to don't know what I don't know, they reach out to me. It's not that I'm going to, hey, please listen to me and then work with me. That's not how I work.
Okay, you guys, please also let in that beautiful form or whatever the fuck is going to be, let Ron know if you like him and if you would like to hear
Yeah, but it's
more
I
of
don't
him.
care what other people think of me. It's about my own personal interest. If people like me, it's amazing.
You are serving people, and if people are asking for
Yeah.
more of you,
But you
why
know,
can't you give it?
this is
Why don't
this
you want to give?
because I'm setting myself stuck in a corner. You know why I quit my 9 to 5 job? Because I want freedom. I've done the personality test at Ty Lopez seminar. Freedom is one of the highest things. If I commit
Yeah,
myself
for me
to
too.
yeah, if I commit myself to something like this that I need to show up for other people, it's basically the same of having a 9 to 5 job. You're showing up for other people.
Your whole career is going to be about showing up to other people.
It depends how you structure your life and showing up for other people. I don't mind doing it for the coaching
Showing up
call
for
and
other
from time to
people,
time.
not showing up to other people, showing up for yourself
Yeah,
and serving other people. That's your whole career. Your whole
yeah.
career as an entrepreneur is serving other people. And you know that. And if you're in the media publishing business, then you need to get over yourself and you need to publish
But
more of yourself
it
on the
should not
internet.
feel like a constraint. Like, oh, we need to make another episode again. You know, remember on Bali when we did like episodes about shorts because we needed to make those
Yeah, we
episodes. Like,
try to make 3 episodes a day, you
yeah,
guys.
yeah. But if you make 3 a week, you will have the same stuff because there's nothing much happening in life to talk about.
Yeah, but there are different content formats. That's what I'm saying. We've only done one.
Yeah,
But we have not done the work to figure out what other content formats might be interesting and that we can mix it up. Maybe we can do Q&As, maybe we can do quizzes. There are so
could
many
be.
different
Yeah,
things that we haven't tried.
yeah. That's true.
We can do one podcast per week. We can do one, reviewing a YouTube channel of someone or reviewing an online business, like something of like one of our listeners, just like figuring out other ways to show up and serve people.
Yeah. We'll figure it like like we can figure out different kind of content. But I'm just curious. Let's see what people will say on this episode because we need some external input.
Yeah, but we're also going to get into probably a disagreement about what kind of questions we are going to write
100%.
in the form. 100%, you
Welcome
guys, a
to the
billion
business
percent.
partner. Yeah.
we spar about everything, and I love it. So, how the fuck do we even come up with that? We can also leave a different one, like, let us know what questions we should have asked you, and then we can do a second episode and then ask you these questions that we should have asked, for example.
I think we should have should have a question which is as open as possible, so people can just dump what they're thinking, because a lot is being said here. So
yeah, a lot is being said. So we're gonna just leave them as open as possible. As open as like, what do you think about a conversation? How would you act? What are the strategic, like, what do you think is the right thing to do in the strategic thing? Like,
yeah, we'll make something.
Yeah, for sure. But it'll be interesting to also transcribe this conversation and put it through Chatty
Yeah,
to see what she thinks. And by the way, that's a hack I've been doing, you guys. That's great.
yeah, it's useful as long as you will say it without a bias, you know.
Yeah, yeah. What are you trying to say?
Make sure I'm right. Give me arguments why I'm right.
I'm ready to go to war, motherfucker.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's see. I'm curious what people will see. A nice title maybe of the podcast is "We Need Your Help." I think that's a good one.
That's a good one. Just short. We need your help. Period.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Then a good episode. The longest one so far.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.